Topic today is patience in selling your domain name. Hey guys, Chris Zuiker, Media Options. Help companies to buy and acquire their raw, unfiltered version of their brand name. Also work on some of the best domains on the planet. Check it out, MediaOptions.com. I do a daily podcast also, chriszuiker.com/podcast. Today's topic is patience. Patience is selling your domain name. A lot of people come to us and say, hey, I want to sell this domain name. Like, what's your timing? Can you sell it next week? It's like, no, can't. How long have you owned it for? Well, I've owned it for 10 years. Okay, well, how many offers have you had? I've had like maybe 5 good ones. Okay, well, if you had over 10 years and you have 5 good offers, chances are it's not going to sell the next week, right? Because if it was going to sell, then most likely you wouldn't need me. I mean, it would have sold and it would have, you'd have offers on the table that you could pick and choose from. But the reason why we bring value as a domain broker is we bring visibility. So I talk about the 3 V's, okay? Not Gary V, the 3 V's. And that is visibility, getting your domain name in front of, as an option when companies are looking to rebrand, they're looking to brand, or they're looking to upgrade their domain, okay? Visibility is very important. One of the keys that we hear from companies all the time is, gosh, the hardest thing is just picking a brand. Like, I've got some funding, maybe it's 6 figures, but we just can't find a brand that really resonates with us, okay? That's where visibility comes in. There's a sea of domain names. We're going to solve that problem coming up here. But visibility. Then it's valuation. Is your domain name valued properly? Then it's viability. Is the company that you're there, is it the right company? And is the right person in that company that can say yes and not just no? Okay. If you get any of those wrong, chances are you're not going to sell your domain name. It's going to be priced too high, and you're going to be sitting on it for a long time as an asset. Now, patience. How does patience fit in here? Patience fits in here in a couple of different ways. Okay. It fits in here with visibility and getting it in front of the right companies at the right time. Sometimes companies pop up at different times on different radars, right? Think of a startup, they're evolving, they're coming and trying to rebrand. Now, it's very difficult to pinpoint them and say, well, hey, you should have talked to these 10 people. They didn't exist. How could you talk to them? How would you have known the internal conversations? And so if you look at Media Options, we have anywhere from like 4,000 to 5,000 people on a 24-hour period come to our site. And there is around like 50 to maybe 120 people at any given time on the site looking at domain names we have. Visibility, right? Okay, but patience, where does that come in? Patience is this evolution. There's an evolution in sales, okay? There's an evolution in the worldview, evolution in how companies view domain names, especially if it's your brand. Okay, I've reached out to a lot of startups now. And maybe they're using LLC, maybe they're using software, maybe they're using a different version of their brand, such as, okay, LLC, software, corporation, insurance, right? Pick your industry, and they could be using that domain. The problem is that in the beginning, they're just not at that point where they are going to pull the trigger on the domain name. Okay, so I talk about this evolution of the founder. Okay, how founders start off, they're hustlers. It's like, okay, how can I make this happen, right? I'm hustling, right? The 6-figure is way out of my league. I'm not at that point yet because although I want to build this company, I'm not at the point where I feel comfortable putting money down on my vision because I'm still in hustle mode, right? Now, from there, they go to marketer, they go to CEO mode. And usually this happens, it happens naturally, okay? But there's different forces that help evolve that. One of them is funding, okay? You go through different funding rounds. When you go from the $1 million funding to like a $20 million funding, listen, some hard questions are asked. You move from hustler to marketer and CEO pretty darn quick because they're asking, hey, how are you going to protect my investment? You don't own your brand. What if another company comes in and takes it? How are you going to avoid the confusion? How are you going to avoid the email confusion? How are you going to email security? Brand confusion, brand proliferation, right? There's too many different brands out there. Okay, it's this natural evolution. Okay, that's timing, right? There's just this aspect of timing. Quick story, so there was a domain that we were brokering, and the domain owner wanted to sell this domain name. They're like in a hurry. Hey, we want to sell it. End up selling it for like $110,000. 9 months later, one of the contacts we'd reached out to came back to us, wanted to buy it, ended up buying it for $300,000. That was bought by another domain investor. And they walked away with 190,000, okay, give or take, right? So there's probably some fees in there. But they walked away with a lot of money. Okay, so patience on the side of the owner to say, hey, do you have it in front of the right companies? Is the conversation being had? Okay, as they get to that point where they realize that they need to own their brand. Okay, I talked yesterday about valuations and how there's raw equity in a keyword, then there's brand equity, and then there's brand perception. Okay, and the perceived equity, and how what happens is that as you pump more money in to the brand equity, but you don't own your domain, well, then it's going to give other people options to say, well, hey, I'll take that domain. They've really built it up. And just, by the way, the traffic alone that is going to that domain name, the .com, is worth it, potentially. Okay. Different industry, different domain names. I don't know, but the pattern is still there. There's still an element of that. You got to have patience. You have to have patience. I went out, I bought a Sony A3000, if that makes sense, camera, and I was using it, but what happened is that the microphone didn't have the plug-in jack, so it was like a hot mic or a hot shoe, okay? And audio was bad, so I used it several times, but it was just more difficult to use that camera. And recently, okay, so I realized I should have bought the one with the actual like mic jack, and so I went and I actually just upgraded my camera recently to a Sony A27 or an A7 II, one of those, I think A7 II, and it had the mic jack. I'm like, oh, this is great, okay, but guess what? I don't use it. I still use this thing because I don't know how to use it. Okay, so it's patience and evolution and realizing that, hey, I could, I need to this evolution of who I am, right? I mean, I've got this tool, but I don't know how to use it yet. But I will use it. Okay, I'll get there. But the same thing happens in domain names and branding. Sometimes it's just not the right fit. It's not the right time. You have to wait it out. Anyways, that's it for today. Have patience. Give it time to work. But you need to have visibility to get it in front of the right company, the right person. And inevitably, if you follow that process, is priced right, your domain's going to sell. But you got to have patience. You got to have patience. If you get any value from this video, share it up. Share it up.